Good afternoon, everybody. I was in the mood for some kind of dessert and I wanted something quick and easy, something anybody could do. So come on with me and let's see what we're going to do. First of all, I put 2 cups of it's 2 cups of self-rising flour. If you use all-purpose flour, don't forget to put your half a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking powder in that. Mine already has it in there, so don't worry about it. I'm going to add 1 cup of white sugar. I've got 2 eggs over here that I'm going to beat. Put them right in my measuring cup. Beat those up. Now, for any of you that have kids, they'll probably love this. It's an easy treat that you can fix. Real easy, low cost. I mean, how much does 2 cups of flour and 2 eggs cost, and maybe a cup of sugar? Not much, really. So I'm going to pour that right in there. I'm going to put a teaspoonful vanilla extract. Oh, if I can get it open. I'm going to go ahead. I got my oil in my pot here. It's about 2 inches deep. Go ahead and get that getting hot while I mix up my dough here. One teaspoon is plenty. This is some vanilla that my sister-in-law made me a couple of years ago. I'm just now using the last of it. It's got real vanilla sticks in it. I've got 2 cups of milk. Now I'm just going to mix this all up. I hate it when flour sticks to your spoon. Well, I'm going to put just a little bit more flour in there. I don't think that's quite enough. You know, usually I don't measure stuff, but put about 1/4 of a cup in there and try that and see if that's enough. Because I don't want it too loose, but I don't want it real thick either. Well, that makes about 1/2 cup of flour I've added to this because I don't want it too runny. You might want to cut down on the milk, cut it down to 1 cup because we don't want it real soupy and runny. We don't want it real thick either, but yeah, don't add but 1 cup of milk. I added a little bit too much milk. It should have only been 1 cup. So use all the other ingredients like I said, but just use 1 cup of milk. Or add it as you go and, you know, kind of stir it up and add your milk to get it at a consistency that you'd like it to be. Yeah, that's getting more like it right there. So I'll give you the ingredients again. 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and if you need baking powder, put 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt in there. Mine has already got all that, so I'm not going to add it. And I'm going to try to take it just by the spoonful, if I can get it that way, and drop it in my hot grease. You can see I'm barely getting a tablespoon on here. Whoops. I've gotten it all over the stove and me, and but that kind of makes it fun. I'm also going to take a small bowl. I'm going to put some sugar in here, right out of my little sugar dish. Just a couple of tablespoons. And you got to pay attention to your little They're supposed to be like donut holes. But I still think I've got mine a little bit too runny. But they're going to be good nevertheless. I'm going to sprinkle cinnamon. I'm going to make cinnamon sugar is what I'm doing. Take this and put it somewhere else because I need the room over here. You're frying them just like you would hush puppies or something. But these are not going to be hush puppies. They're supposed to be like donut holes. No matter how they look, they're going to taste wonderful, and your kids would love them. Well, I keep turning one over and it bounces right back to where it's already been. And I need to brown the other side of it. And it's not cooperating. Keeps rolling around to the wrong side. But you can keep turning them over and moving them around and I'm going to drop them right in the sugar. And I might have to put more sugar in here. Kind of stir them around in your sugar, coat them real well. Then I'm going to put them on my bowl. They just stick a little bit better if you put them in there while they're hot. try this one. And we'll get some of these remnants out of here. Put them in this measuring cup because they'll just keep browning and end up burning in there, and I don't want them to burn. But I found if you just barely get a tablespoon and put in there, they make a better little round ball, more like a donut hole. Because you can drop them in there pretty fast, and they'll hold their shape a lot better. And I know some of you say, well, just use another spoon, don't use your finger. Well, this is the way I've cooked all my life. So I get my fingers in it. I'm going to go ahead and add me some more sugar in here. And some more cinnamon. And if you don't have so many to make, you can cut the recipe in half. And I might even get my sugar, because I may need a little bit more than that I've got in here. I mean, they don't look like perfect donut holes, but look at that. It's about the size of a donut hole. And if you love donut holes, you'll love these. I'm going to use my little spoon. Because if you've ever fried hush puppies, I fry my hush puppies the same way. But you'll know they don't come out perfectly round. But once you can get them browned on both sides, they're ready. They're ready to go in the sugar. Guess you can't see my bowl back there. I think I'll get less grease in my sugar if I do it this way. So you'll need a cup of sugar for your dough, and you're going to need probably about half a cup to a cup of sugar to put on your little cake holes after you, or cake balls, after you get them cooked. And that 2 cups of flour is going to make quite a bit of batter. I mean, it's going to make quite a few of these things. Get that sugar in that grease. I had a little bit of water on that spoon when I put it back in the grease. That's what's popping. So don't do like I do. Don't rinse your spoon off and then pop it back in that grease. And you could like mix this up, cook half of them today, cook half of them tomorrow. You don't have to cook them all at one time. Of course, if you got a big family, you might want to cook them all at one time. And if you got a bigger pot to cook them in, that would be good too. And a lot of times they'll turn over on their own. You don't have to turn them. But sometimes they won't. So I have to help them. I got dough on the top. But how many times have you ever went to get donuts? They are pretty expensive. And how many times did your kids want the donut holes? So they would love these. Tell them you're going to fry some donut holes and they'll have a good time with it. I mean, just look in there cooking. Won't that look good? And I could take these out and put them on something until they, so I could get them out of here. Because I don't want them to burn. Again, I'm going to get my remnants of the cake batter out. There's always a little bit that comes off, just like Hush Puppies. And you always have this little bit of dough floating around that's cooking, and I don't want it to burn, because it burns, it's going to ruin the taste of my, it's going to ruin the taste of your donut holes. That way those can be cooking while I'm putting the sugar and cinnamon on these other ones. Need some more sugar because it's making quite a few. And you know, when you add sugar, you got to add cinnamon. Always have to get your hands in stuff. Sugar all over me. I think I went a little big on these. They're a little crowded in here, but they'll cook. Don't you think they're looking good? But this is a good way to eat a cake treat. And you don't have to heat your oven up in the summer. We all hate to do that. But they're looking good. Well, that one doesn't want to roll over. But DS, you could fix these for your grandkids. They loved your fish. They'd love these too. Whoops. I dropped it back in the pot. I try to keep them all the same size if I can. That way they cook evenly. Because if you had great big ones and then you put them in there with little ones, the little ones are going to get done. The big ones may burn. May need a bigger bowl to put them in. Gladys, your boys could make you these. They're easy enough to make. Trying to get that one turned over. And if you made a big batch of them, you could always freeze some of them too. But I wanted to get them all done so you could see how many it makes. And I'm going to have to get another, I can use this bowl and get them out in a plate or something. And another little bowl. Sometimes they want to stick together with those little hooks they got on them. Just pull them apart. It's all right. When they're a little crowded in there, it kind of helps keep them from rolling back over when you want them turned the other way. It kind of holds them in place a little bit. But I think your kids would be asking for these. If you ever fixed them one time, they'll be asking for these donut holes. Or cake balls, or whatever you want to call them. I guess you could call them donut holes because this is basically the way they do a donut hole. All the holes they cut out, they throw in the batter and fry them, and that's what they sell you. And if you wanted to go to the trouble, you could pour chocolate glaze over them, just a regular sugar glaze. It's the easiest just to put the cinnamon sugar on them, and they're just as good. I think this might be the last bunch. If you'll spoon it in and hold the spoon over the top of the one you just dropped, the little bit of stuff that drops off the spoon will just drop right on top of the ball of batter, and it won't be so misshaped, if that makes any sense. I just have more control when I use my fingers. I have more control over everything. I'm going to get just a little bit more sugar. Not going to take much because this will be the last bunch. So this recipe, it's going to take about 2 cups of sugar. 1 cup to go in your batter. The other cup to put on your donut holes after you get them fixed, or cake balls. I'm always undecided what to call them, cake balls or donut holes. I'm going to put that whole last bunch of batter in there, and it's all trying to stick together, but it'll work. I think 2 of them went together in the center, but that'll work too. Oh well. They don't want to come apart. Turn that heat down a tiny bit. Yeah, I had 3 of them that stuck together because I put too much in there. But that's okay. They'll go in the compost bin. Woo! It touched my finger and it was hot. This last one will be all right. Ooh, you can tell these last couple of ones, I made them a little big because I was getting anxious trying to get them all done. So don't do that. When you cook them, don't get anxious. Don't make them so big that when they swell up, they stick to one another. That's what I did with that last batch. That's the reason I got some in the cup over there. That was 3 of them that stuck together because I put them in there too fast. And I put too much in each one. So if you'll stick with the plan, like I said, just barely put a tablespoon to each one. Maybe a kind of a flat tablespoonful. And don't try to put too many in there. They'll come out perfect. That's all going in the compost. Right along with the sugar, because I don't save this sugar because it has a little bit of oil in it, you know, from frying the donuts or the cake balls, donut holes. Make that a little bit more presentable. And look at all those donut holes we got back there. How about that, y'all? Look at that. Let's see if we can find one that's halfway cool. Y'all take a bite. Take a bite of that sugar-coated, cinnamon and sugar-coated donut hole. Mmm. That's good, yeah. Mmm. There's hardly any difference between that and the actual donut holes you get at the bakery. Y'all get another bite. Mmm. That is so good, y'all. Mmm. Really good. And I know in my videos, you see me wiping my hands, washing my hands, all through my cooking process. All these other videos cut all that out. They do the exact same thing. If they don't, they're pretty dirty people. But I said in the beginning, you were going to see the actual process of cooking stuff. It was not going to be edited so that you see something false. Now, this is just all part of making these donuts. Donut holes. You got to keep your hands clean. So I always keep a clean dish pan full of soapy water over here that I can wash my hands off several times through my cooking process. Because you see, I'm handling my food with my hands, my fingers. It's easier that way sometimes. But my hands are clean. Because how many times have I washed them during this video? How many times do you see people wash their hands in some of these other videos when they're cooking? You don't know if they wash their hands or not. I do. But anyway, I wanted to show you exactly how to make these donut holes. An easy way. You can do them at home. Excuse me. Get something in my throat to wet it down. But I wanted to show you how easy it is. Just don't get your grease so hot you're going to start burning them. And it has a tendency to get that way toward the end of cooking. When you start putting your last one or two potfuls of donut holes in your frying your oil, it has a tendency by then to start getting too hot, and they'll burn pretty fast, so you'll have to turn your heat down a little bit, because you got to have it turned up high enough that it fries them when they hit the grease. You don't want them just to spread out all over the grease. You want, the minute they hit the grease, you want them to start frying. That's what keeps them in a ball. So you want yours kept in a ball like that. You don't want them to spread out all over your pot and all in your grease. And with that, you've seen how I make my donut holes. But, this day and time, the prices of everything, everybody that's got a house full of kids can't afford to go to the donut shop. I mean, you'd be spending quite a bit of money. I don't even go to the donut shop. But kids always love the donut holes. So this is a quick, easy way to make them at home. And I'll guarantee you, your kids are going to love them just as good as they do the ones that come from the donut shop. And with that, I'm going to wish y'all a good day. Oh, I promised I was going to tell you all the ingredients. This is the full ingredients. 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, and that's just for the batter. You need extra sugar with your cinnamon to coat them in later. You need 2 cups of flour, self-rising or all-purpose, it doesn't matter. But just remember, if you use all-purpose, you got to put your baking powder and your salt, which usually it's a 1 teaspoon of baking powder and about an 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1 cup of milk, not 1 1/2. 1 cup of milk. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you got to have your oil to fry them in. And the reason I use a small pot is so I don't have so much oil. I can't afford to fill up a great big pot full of oil just to fry donut holes. So I use a small pot. I even do this when I cook my fried fish, my hush puppies, and everything, because it saves on the oil you have to use. And some of this oil out there is pretty expensive. And then all you need after you fry them is some paper towels to drain them on temporarily, roll them in your sugar, cinnamon sugar, and put them in your bowl, and you got homemade donut holes, y'all. Make you some. I think your kids will love them. Hey, if you don't have kids, they're grown, you're going to love them too, because I do. And with that, I'm going to say good day. Y'all have a blessed evening, blessed day tomorrow, good afternoon or good morning or whatever time you watch this video. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye now.